Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran, and today we are taking a look at a video that went viral several weeks ago of a lone Ukrainian tank taking on an entire Russian column. And we are going to break down how this tank crew, in addition to being brave and tactically sound, used great planning and terrain analysis to build the perfect one-tank ambush. Be sure to stick around, and of course, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I have this dream of getting to 100k subscribers, and I want that silver plaque on my wall right next to the cross pistols and the bronze star. So if you guys can help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. Okay, bear in mind, guys, yes, this is real combat footage. I don't show combat footage with anything graphic in it. Let's take a look. I love the fact that they've added this in. All right, hang on. Boom, this is some of the best footage we've got, and let's break down the situation that he's looking at right now. I'm actually gonna make this just a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So they've labeled these Russian forces here. You notice none of these are actually tanks. They're wheeled vehicles. I think they're BMP somethings, right? But they contain usually about a squad of troops. They have a fairly powerful autocannon on the top, but they are not tanks in the sense that you are thinking of, with a heavy main gun and treads. They're a lighter weight, more mobile, slightly less armored vehicle, and they are moving in a properly spaced column here. So you can see right there, we've actually, at the bottom left of our screen, you can actually see the Ukrainian tank is actually in a position behind this farmhouse and this building to the side. Once it has a designated kill zone, and that's going to be the area of a ambush where the ambusher has planned to engage targets. Now, you can see he initiates it when this vehicle passes right here. The crew has probably already lined up this shot so that as soon as this vehicle enters their visual area, they're going to engage. Now, your first question may be, why didn't they engage this first vehicle? And we're going to break that down in a second. But for now, let's see. So you can see the first shot is a miss. It zips over the vehicle, the BMP's head, and lands above it. The tank here, right, it is still located right here. You can actually see how it maneuvered into place. Today's video is sponsored by Manscaped. You guys know that Manscaped is the world leader in below-the-waist grooming, but Manscaped is also debuting their Boxers 2.0, the most comfortable boxer brief out there. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with promo code VET at manscaped.com. You guys probably know that I live in the South and I work out a lot. And when summer lasts from April to October, you're going to be sweating a ton. And the truth is, cotton boxer briefs don't cut it. They absorb water like a sponge. And when you're really active, the last thing you want is a bunch of water down there in your crotch. You need boxers that are moisture wicking, but breathable and still comfortable. So when Manscaped gave me the opportunity to try out their Boxers 2.0, I jumped at the opportunity. This micromoto fabric is soft but breathable. You're able to run, jump, work out, in my case, train jiu-jitsu, and these boxers won't break a sweat. Manscaped also trademarked the Jewel Pouch. That's their custom fit in the front to make sure that your boys aren't going to get squished, that they're going to have the room they need. The tagless waistband hugs your waist without chafing, and the front fly opening makes bathroom breaks quick and efficient, which is not something that any other moisture wicking boxer brief I own has. And you can choose from a wide array of designs and sizes from small all the way up to XXL. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping using promo code VET at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with promo code VET. Thanks again to Manscaped. Once the Boxers 2.0 touch your sack, you'll never go back. It was originally positioned out here on the road, and then decided they were going to set up an ambush position by coming first here, but then they were in this position, and they must have realized, you can see actually the treads, the tank lined itself up perfectly right here, but then it realized, it said, hey, this, as they come down this road, they're going to see us. This vehicle, this house, isn't large enough to conceal the tank. So then they moved. They set, turned, and positioned themselves right here. And you notice what else? Their heaviest armor is actually this way. They've got their turret pivoted, and they're engaging targets right here. Why is this? This is because if they have to make a withdrawal, they'll be backing straight up and out. They're going to keep their heavily armored front towards the enemy, right? Which is going to be engaging them from here or off to the left. And they're going to be able to withdraw under some cover. So let's keep going. Okay, so they've just done a bunch of quick shots and let's see if we can make sense of it, right? So here's this initial shot. Okay, they're shooting back. There we go. So they are continuing to roll. The Russians are continuing to move their convoy along. That's a great call. If you can't, what you would normally do is call out a distance and direction. You would try to communicate to the other vehicles in the convoy where the enemy fire was coming from if they can't see it themselves. But remember, in the US, every vehicle can always talk to every other vehicle, but Russian communications have been notoriously bad. So these other vehicles may not be able to hear from their comrades where that fire is coming from. There may not be information that's being shared. So these vehicles probably are attempting to return fire. You can see tanks are starting to approach, right? It's not clear that this is the same area. These are very quick cuts that this video has. But you can see main battle tanks are starting to come into the fight, right? The BMPs, which are softer, easier targets for this tank to engage, are starting to roll past and leave the kill zone. It's now much harder for that lone tank to engage. So you can see there's a successful hit by the tank right here. It's got now the advantage. You can see this is not a very wide road. So this second BMP is going to have to slow and slowly pass by their fellow vehicle, right? And someone may have to stop and help recover this vehicle, but they know this is already perfectly lined up for that shot for the tank, which you can see here has repositioned, now has its hull facing this way. So that, remember, tanks are best armored in the front, right? So as vehicles approach from this north side, they can't get a line on the Ukrainian tank. That's why they're using cover here, right? Preventing the enemy from seeing them. Or they're using concealment here. They're concealing their tank, and they're relying on their own armor to be cover. But even better, because they're shooting through this narrow gap in these buildings, these BMPs might have actually a very tough time seeing the Ukrainian tank. Look at the angles. There's a fence. There's obviously this building itself. They won't see that Ukrainian tank until it gets right here into the ambush zone. The first thing they're going to see of that tank is its barrel. This is a brilliant tactical analysis, or a what we call in the US military terrain analysis. You look at the terrain of the battlefield, you look at where you know the enemy is likely to be, their avenues of approach, and then you place yourself in the most tactically advantageous position. You look at fields of fire, which is exactly what he's done. He's looked at his own field of fire right here, and he's looked at his enemy's fields of fire, which are all going to be along the road facing downward. So brilliant terrain analysis here. And you can see these vehicles, the second vehicle understands the broad direction that the enemy is in, but doesn't exactly know where, because the Ukrainian tank has such good concealment. Yep, they're continuing, and this is actually exactly the right call. This vehicle doesn't have a good identification of the enemy, but he knows his buddy is shooting in this direction, so he's going to shoot in that direction too, simply to put volume of fire, in case it's, for example, not a tank, but maybe a team of NLAWs or an anti-armor team. They might be scared off by just seeing return fire. But again, because this tank position is well concealed by the debris, they're not going to see it until exactly. See how as this vehicle enters the kill zone, it finally sees the tank, but it's too late. They're already facing down the tank's barrel, and they're shooting the most heavily armored part of the tank with a 30mm autocannon. They're going to have a hard time getting even a kill on this tank. Boom, exactly. They're right in the kill zone, and the tank fires. Now this vehicle misses, but he has no choice. He has to slow. Watch, the next BMP is going to come in, and oh, the tank can't get the round off in time. But look, here's another tank trying to engage, right? This would be a really devastating angle for the Ukrainian tank, because obviously his armor is facing front, his turret's facing front. He's defenseless to the side. The only thing saving him is the fact that there's this farmhouse that's providing concealment. It's not going to stop the rounds. It's an old farmhouse. But what it is doing is preventing these other vehicles from seeing exactly where the tank is and engaging it effectively. You can see that now the individual infantry have deployed, and they are seeking cover on the far side of the road. This seems like it's probably a Russian doctrine to deploy your infantry quickly, get them to the opposite side of the ambush, and form a base of fire. It's not clear what this is supposed to be. It looks like maybe this is that BMP or another BMP cooking off. And you can see even more tanks are tied up in this conflict. Let's see if we can identify the Ukrainian tank position. I can't really tell. I can't identify the farmhouse here, unless it's maybe this back here. Maybe it's these. I'm not certain. Unless it's back there. You can see there's just a lot of confusion. There's a lot of miscommunication about what's happening. I think these may be rounds going long. So I want to point out that the title was that this Ukrainian tank was destroying the entire Russian column. It was not. What it did effectively do, though, is stop this column for a time, inflict a lot of casualties, buy time for defenders further down the road who might be setting up a more robust defense, who need more time to get into position. And by engaging in exactly this sort of harassment style ambush, the Ukrainians are buying themselves a lot of time. This was again released in April when the Russians were pushing to the east of Kyiv, and the Ukrainian defense forces needed as much time as possible to bolster the defense. There is the Russian vehicle burning. We're going to fast forward through that. I don't particularly find there's much value in that sort of stuff. So all in all, guys, what did we see? Well, we saw a very skilled tank crew, certainly, but we also saw a very, very talented commander who's able to do the analysis. They understand what the enemy brings to the battlefield, what they bring to the battlefield, and more importantly, they ask where. They shape their ambush, their choices based on the terrain. And that is what defines a brilliant commander. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Again, please hit that subscribe button. Build me towards that 100K subs. They give me a nice silver plaque, and I really would like it on my wall. Also, if you want access to some exclusive content, including some of the stuff on YouTube, or some of the videos that I can't really review on YouTube, you want to check out Patreon. Thanks to our Lieutenant tier patrons right here. I'll see you guys in the next one.